One. Good morning. Good morning. I guess we speak English, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And if anyone have any problem with that, we could, if you want to ask questions in your own language, if it's not too difficult, I'll try to. I mean, German and Danish is fine. If somebody wants to ask something in Swedish, that's even better. But you feel free at any time to interrupt me or question what I say or whatever, because anything I say now from now on is just my view, my way of seeing things. It might not be the same way as you would see it, so. But I think it's good to, first of all, make it quite clear that it's good for all of you to use your brains in a positive way, meaning that it's good to be critical to yourselves and what you do, but also to the guys that are, trying to tell you things or show you things. We might have a lot of stuff to teach you, but it could be that you have a lot of things to teach us as well. So, as I say, everything I say is my truth, but it might not be yours. But I would like to start just very briefly to tell you where I come from, why I play this funny instrument. Not all of you is playing trombone. I know there's mostly trumpet players, but there's also a few, not so few, but there are tuba players and horn players, and yeah, all of those nice instruments that we love. But first of all, why do you start to play an instrument like trombone? It fits really good to be here today, because I started to play drums when I was a little kid. My brothers played drums. I grew up in a steel town, so everybody worked in the steel factory. My brothers and my father did too. And there was an orchestra, because the orchestra played everything that the factory, whatever, when they thought it was suitable to have music, they played. And so I started to play drums when I was 6, and that was quite fun. But when I really wanted to learn more, my brothers and I, we practiced so much in the backyard of our house, and we lived on a farm, although my father didn't work there. And we scared the cows almost to death. They freaked out because we played so long that they stampeded the whole farm and ran away, so we had to pick them up with a tractor 10 kilometers away somewhere. And so my mother said, hey, this is enough. I can't have this anymore. So she said, one of you have to stop. I said, I can stop. Because I was tired of playing anyway, so. And then a couple of days later, there was a trombone standing in the hallway. My father played trumpet, and he liked to repair instruments. So there was this trombone stand there that he was supposed to repair. I felt he was not at home, so I would try it. And I did. And it felt pretty okay. So when he came back home, I said, can you show me something? And he knew a little bit about trumpet, so he showed me how to blow it, how to make a note, and he also knew how many positions the slide had, because for some reason he had figured out that the trumpet had the same amount of positions. I hope you have figured that out already. If not, then check it out. It has 7 on the trumpet as well. I think even on the horn, even on the tuba. So he said, let's find a teacher for you. And we actually found some new bass guy came back home from conservatory, and I like the way 13-year-old kids like to play. I had other interests. I had a moped. I was not allowed to drive a moped. That was fun. And 13 years old, you start to think about other things than playing trombone. And but after a while, I realized that this is fun, even though, I don't know if you have noticed that, trombone players, for some reason, they're looked upon as, at least they were looked upon as, just a little on the, weird side. Yeah. When I was waiting for the bus to go to my lessons, I had to go 11 kilometers with the bus to get my lessons. You know, my schoolmates used to kick my instrument case or, you know, try to hit me on the face or whatever. Because they thought it was stupid to play trombone. And I started to think it was really stupid as well then, because you know, I was treated a little as the weird guy. But at the same time, I liked it. And my teacher was really good. He showed me how to try to develop. And for some reason, it felt like I'm going to pursue this, even though all my schoolmates think I'm crazy. So I did. And I guess that how many of you have felt the same way at some point that your kids, you have done it at least. Not so many. You have, see, there's more and more. Yeah. And you know, one thing is very important to say here from the start. To play an instrument, if you start to play it because you like it, stick with it. If you started because the parents told you that you have to play it, then there might be another question, because then you can ask yourself, do I play it because I like it, or do I play it because somebody else told me to like it? But anyway, I grew older, and it was time to make a choice between staying in my little steel factory town, work in the steel factory, drink myself to death, or try to find another way out. And I was lucky enough to find a new music gymnasium. They just opened up music gymnasiums in Sweden at that time, 1972. So I was lucky to get in there, and I could move from my hometown to a little bigger town called Karlstad in the west of Sweden, which was a real city. It felt like New York to me. Maybe it was 20,000 people there, but it was still New York. And we could do what we wanted. I lived by myself. I could practice anytime. We could even jam in the evenings. Although I did not really know what it was, because I hadn't started to play any kind of jazz really. Because my education was pure classical. And why is that? Because there was no other education back in the 70s. There was nothing called jazz or Afro or whatever they call stuff. And so I had to study, you know, proper trombone. And I think that was really good, because at least I learned how this thing works, you know. Because it's a kind of a weird instrument. I mean, so I understand when people laugh a little bit at it, because they think, what the hell are you doing? You know, if you can play, that's all. Right? If you go to a circus, that's what you hear. That's what they think trombone is about. But if you do like this, then they think, what the hell was that? That was, sorry. And that's where everything starts. When you start to use your own brain, when you start to think against what people think, what maybe your first teachers have told you, what you can do on an instrument, it's when you start to think for yourself, is there another way? Is there more possibilities with the instrument than somebody showed you from the start? Anyway, when I went to the school, I started to think, wow, trombone. And I got an American teacher who was based from over there. He played with Harry James Orchestra for quite a few years, and he came over here with a Swedish trumpet player, Ernie England. He was not Swedish actually, he was American, but he was that kind of a Swedish American. And he looked quite funny. He had teeth. Have you ever met him, Rob? His front teeth was like, there was 2 centimeters in between those teeth. He could almost push his trumpet mouth through. And he was a first trumpet player. He was quite an amazing cat. But he had some serious teeth. But anyway, he beyond the point. But this teacher, his name was David Maiden. He had a totally different way of showing what you could do with the trombone, because he said, I can't improvise very good, but maybe you can learn yourself. Maybe it's not me that are supposed to teach you, but I'll show you where to find, answers to your questions. I cannot show you on the instrument, but I can show you in other ways. And he started a big band at the same time. So we got the first chance to, improvise on something, maybe a blues or something that we didn't know anything about. But I realized when I was 16 or 17 that this is what I wanted to become a trombone player, a professional trombone player. So when I was, let's say I was 20. I became a professional trombone player when I was 20. And I had then studied 3 years at this gymnasium, and then 2 years at Conservatory of Music in far west in Sweden. And then I moved to Stockholm to try to become a professional trombone player. And I started to play with some jazz band. And in January 1976, I made 34 Swedish crowns on that month. And that was not enough. That's like 3 euros. And 3 euros doesn't make a month's living. So I was really, really desperate. And somebody called me from a pop artist in Sweden. His name was Björn Skifs. And he had had a #1 hit in America with a song called Hotel and Feeling. So that was, for me, perfect. I got to play with a pop band instead of continuing to try to play jazz. And of course, everybody said to me, how the hell can you start to play pop? You're a jazz musician. I said, I don't know. I'm a jazz musician, maybe, or somebody who wants to become one, but a jazz musician who doesn't make any money at all is no good jazz musician anyway, because you have to survive. So, and through playing with this guy, Chris, I learned a lot about how to behave on stage, how to play with other people, how to play in tune, how to play rhythmically. Well, I actually learned much more from those guys than I would have done probably from any other thing that I could have done. And on top of that, I made money. But as many of you guys will realize when you continue, when you decide you want to become professionals, if you're not already professionals, and you might want to go your own way, then people will start to question what you do. I played with any and every, let's say, big artist that you could find in Sweden in those days. All the singers, all the Schlager people, all the pop guys, everything that you could possibly do. All the recordings, we could do 3 recordings a day. I'm sure that Bob knows about that too. And yeah, not so far away in time. So you could make a shitload of money playing, just sitting in studios and doing things, which you cannot do anymore because there's no studios and it's recorded that way. So we have to find other ways of doing it. But anyway, when you start to think of, I want to do something on my own, I want to form my own band, maybe write my own music, then it starts over again, and everybody says, you're crazy, you can't do it, you play trombone, forget it. It's impossible. A trombone player cannot lead a band, and he cannot have any kind of fame whatsoever. So I said, why is that impossible? He said, don't even ask, it's impossible. And if somebody tells me that, then I have to try it. So I started to write my own music. I got myself a couple of jobs of all places in Holland, because I had been in Holland before playing free jazz in the 70s. And I actually got my own tour, my first own tour of my own band, 1981. 2 drummers, upright bass and me, crazy band. It didn't sound really good. But I tried. That was the first idea I had. I wanted to have a rhythmically strong band with a free kind of style. And it went fantastic. We went to Holland and we played concerts and everybody loved it. And then the last gig we did, the place was full. Everybody was very, very, very on their toes. They wanted to hear what we wanted to present. And one of my drummers, he had been out on some kind of trip in Amsterdam, and he bought some really, really, really bad cocaine or something. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was. Or maybe it was just like surf wash powder or something. Or a good mix of everything. I don't know what it was, but he couldn't play. He behaved like an asshole. And I couldn't even make him stop. So after the first set, everybody went home. So the place was totally empty, but we had to play another set anyway. So we played another set, and nobody said hi, nobody said goodbye, nobody said anything. It was like I was dead. So I fired those guys, and I thought maybe this was my career. Maybe they were right, everybody that said that if you're a trombone player, you can't make it, it's impossible. But I decided it can't be that easy to give up. You can't give up playing. And then Thad Jones called me and asked me if I wanted to play first trombone in his band. And for those who don't know, Thad Jones, he was at that time one of the biggest composers and arrangers in the field of big band, and he had a big band in Denmark for quite many years. But then he quit that and he wanted to form a new band with some guys from his old band and some guys from Kenny Clark Friends Belong band and some new guys like me, 23 years old or something, 25 maybe. So I didn't say no. It would have been quite stupid. And we went to Italy because it was supposed to be in Italy, the whole thing in Milano, and we recorded in Milano. And the first evening, I didn't know that. He had one of these big ghetto blasters, when we put in the CD and you could play music loud. And we had a party and Thad liked to play. He was a wonderful guy, but I didn't know that at that point. We had a party, everybody was drinking a lot, and he said, "Does anyone have any music?" And I said, "I just bought this record with Wynton Marsalis." I didn't know who Wynton Marsalis was, but I had found his new record. He said, "Okay, is that all you got?" I said, "Yeah." "Okay, play it." I played the record, and after he listened to it for like 7 minutes, he said, "You like this shit?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "That's the worst shit I've ever heard." "Dumb, you must be totally stupid. You like this shit?" I said, "Yeah, I do." And it got worse and worse and worse, and after a while, some of the guys in the band said, "Hey, Thad, can we leave this one? You don't want to be here anymore." So they left, and he just continued, and after that, I thought again, shit, I'm going home tomorrow. I can't stand this. But, of course, I decided not to go home because he was only trying to. He was testing to see if I was a wimp or if I could stay, and take the shit from him. So I did. And he turned out to be a really nice guy. And I was then, after that, prepared to perform with his band, which was fantastic with Jerome Richardson, Jerry Dodgen, Saib Shihab, Lee Suleiman, Tim Higgins, Dushko Vojkovic, so on and so forth. So it was really a good orchestra. So that made me think that I could make it. And then I started to, I even got a record contract with somebody because we made a band called Little Mike and the Sweet Soul Music Band, and that band was like a soul band with 13 people, singers and everything. And we got quite famous, and we made a TV show, and I was supposed to do something. So I decided to do a James Brown tune, Sex Machine. I couldn't sing at all, but I screamed. I did something, and I danced, and I made a lot of funny things. And at one point, we did a TV show, I grabbed a girl in the audience and I turned her upside down. she knew about it. I mean, she was a friend of mine. But she had a leotard on, and it was very, the rubber band was very untight. We didn't even know at that time. Her breast fell out. Very embarrassing. But she, what could you do? It was direct broadcasted on TV, so. And she got very famous. And, well, not me, but that was my breakthrough anyway. So I have to thank her for that. I felt sorry. But yeah, so that kind of helped me in my musical career. It sounds really stupid, but it did. So I got a record deal. She got a record deal too, by the way. But I got a record deal, and the guys asked me, "Do you have any music?" I said, "Yeah, of course I got music." I had not one tune, but as I signed the contract, and so the career started. And me being a trombone player, everybody still said, "You're nuts." And then I was asked by Yamaha to play Yamaha instruments, and I said, "Yeah, sure." In 1995, I can do it. But it has to be better than the one I have, and I want it to be red. And Yamaha said, "Okay," because they didn't have any view on that. They just said, "Okay, we'll do it." And 1 year later, I got this instrument, and all my colleagues, they laughed so hard. They said, "You're absolutely, this is too much." And of course they were right. It was too much. It was far too much to play on a red instrument because nobody had one. But of course I wanted to be some kind of Miles Davis, in the 80s. I thought I would become a pop star. Miles Davis did not have a red trumpet at that time. He had one. But I had seen he had like a black, orange, he had a green instrument. I thought, man, that's cool, and the way he played and everything. Still, I was not a trumpet player, I was a trombone player. One octave down can make such a big difference, as you might have noticed. A trumpet is still an instrument of a hero. Trombone is more an instrument of somebody who wants to be a hero. Traditionally speaking. But anyway, I got this one, and at that point, I had no idea that this could be like a trademark. I had absolutely no idea. But the instrument is good. I've played it ever since, and nowadays, at least it makes some people recognize me when I play. If they don't recognize the way I sound, maybe they recognize the way I look. I mean, by the way, my face gets exactly the same color as this. So it's really good. It matches the whole thing, which I like. But to make a very, very long story short, what I want to say is that because I have actually, since I made my first record, I made another 25 under my own name, and I have had quite a good success all over the world with this instrument. And I think that shows that if I can make it, then you guys can make it as well. Because the funny thing is that there's always space for another person. There's always a place for one more. Even if everybody says you can't do it. I know you can. I know everybody, all of you can do it. You just have to find a little space somewhere. And you have to find out, what do I need to do? First of all, I have to find my own personality, and then I have to find a space for my personality, because that's the only way you can get through. Because the competition is fierce. And today, when, for example, the record business is not the way it was before, recordings, all of us make recordings all the time, but to sell records today is not easy if it ever was easy. So making music with records is not something you really do. But you can make music by playing your instrument. But you have to find someone to play with, and you have to find somebody who wants to pay for it. And the more people we are, having to perform, the more competition we see, the more competition we meet. But as I say, there's always a space for each and every one of you. You just have to figure out where is it, how do I find it, and what do I fill that little space with? Because that's what it's all about. And I think in the days when I started, the competition was not as fierce. Because as everybody was told that you're a stupid trombone player, I mean, I was not the only guy who was a stupid trombone player, everybody was. It's just that I did not believe them, as they said. And the other guys might have just stopped right there because they thought, okay, it doesn't matter, I can't make it anymore. So, my point here is actually to, if you really like what you do, continue to do it, but try to find your own personality, because that's what it's about. It doesn't matter if you're a classical player or if you're an improvisational player, or if you're both, or whatever you play. It's about what you use it for, how you use it, and how you use your brains. Because that's the way you can find your way through. And for example, how many symphony orchestras do we have? In Germany, for example, there's a shit still. But every city has troubles with their money, and the first thing they cut is on cultural events and on steady employed musicians, of course. So there would be, I think we will see cuts in those sectors for eternal times. So that means that all of us have to find, we have to have a plan B, or a plan C, or a plan D, or so many plans that there's always another plan if the first plan doesn't work out. And I think that's also important to try to think, to be free from maybe to decide that, okay, my career has to be this way. What about if that career doesn't work? Maybe your career can move over to another field. You can still play your instrument, whatever. It doesn't matter if you play trombone, trumpet, or French horn, or tuba. It's like my teacher at the conservatory, his name was and still is Imarus. And Imarus, I think he's got more students of him employed in the symphony orchestras around the world than any other teacher in the world, as far as I know. He's got 100 students in orchestras all over the world. And I think I'm one of the only ones that doesn't play classical music all the time. I'm like the black sheep. But I once asked him, can you listen to me, because I've changed something in my embouchure. Can you listen, and my tongue, I had moved the position of my tongue. And could you listen and tell me if it sounds okay? And he said, okay, I'll listen. And he listened and he said, yeah, man, it's not, I have, maybe you put your tongue up there, or you put your tongue, I don't know where you put it, but I want to put it between my teeth, because I felt it was more comfortable. But it was actually not allowed in those days. I did it anyway, and he said, man, that sounds good. He said, to me, I don't give a shit if you play with your mouth or you play with your ass, as long as it sounds good. And to me that was, it sounds a little harsh, but to me that was an eye-opener. Because who says where you should put your mouthpiece? I wouldn't put it there at all. But you can look at each and every one. You have different teeth. You look different, first of all. There's not two people here that look very similar. And all of you have different teeth. Even if you're twins, there are differences. So the teeth are different. The whole face, the whole cranium is different than everyone, and that makes the sound different. And because of the teeth and the way they're placed, you put your mouthpiece somewhere where it feels comfortable. Hopefully, that's a good position. But sometimes that looks like, I have friends who play out here. It sounds great. I have friends who play in the middle, and it sounds shit. So, because they don't know where to put it, but I have friends who play it in the middle that sounds fantastic as well. So And as you might know, in the old days, when the trombone players played not only trombone, but they had to play sync or cornetto in one corner, and they had to play some kind of reed instrument in the other corner, and then they play trombone in the middle. So they have 3 different embouchures. And they sounded good, I guess, because they played some difficult shit anyway. And there was a lot of composers writing music for them. So it was the only guys who didn't have to play more than one instrument was the trumpet players, because they were like above, you know, like they have always been.
And still are.
They were the guys who led people into war. You know, they had to do with the trumpets, otherwise nobody would hear it. And imagine just having to play trombone. It's the same as, you know, nobody would hear it. So that's why the trumpet players, they were always about, they got paid, they had to play less, they got to live good, and they didn't have to play 3 instruments at the same time. Now anyway, everything that we do with our instruments and everything we do with music has, of course, to come from yourselves. But you have teachers to show you on the way and to guide you. And of course you should trust your teachers, because I'm sure that most of the times they're really, really good. But it's always good to have a little critical guy sitting on the side for your own sake. Not being critical because you're supposed to be critical, but you know, listen to what people say and then you react on that. And listen to yourself, listen to the way you play, listen to the way you perform music, and think to yourself, is this good, or can I become, you know, a better player if I do it like this or this or this? And that's why it's so good to meet like this, to meet a lot of people and experience other people's views on music and on playing these funny instruments that most people do not understand anything. Very recently I had a little kid who came to me and he wanted to have a lesson. So I offered him a lesson. He just started to play trombone. And then his mother said, "It's funny, I never get a sound out of the instrument," she said. I said, "So can you show me how you do it?" And she did like this. I said, "No wonder." And I showed her that she could do it in another way, and she got a sound out of it. So most people, they believe that you anything but what you actually do with it is the way you play it. And of course they cannot understand why you miss notes or why you complain that you're tired or anything, because they just believe that you blow air into the instrument, but that's it. There's a little more to it, as you know. So people's, you know, the way people see us who plays instruments, they see us as somebody, or people see us as someone who is interesting, strange, little crazy, and at the same time they like music, but they have no idea what we do and why we do it. But that's what we have to find out for ourselves, because we are the ones who are supposed to show other people not what we do, but we want to show them our vision of music. And it doesn't matter what kind of music you play, you can still show them a vision, I believe. Good, I'm not the only one. That's fine.
That's up to Hans from Kurford.
You can ask any question at this point if you like. Because I've been rapping for an hour without reading, so ask me about anything, from the color of my underwear to, you know, whatever you want.
This you made with the 2008 European Championships, is this your only composition? This I Fly Away?
What?
This is the song you made at the European brass band.
You mean the brass band?
Yeah, this you arranged it for Savannah brass band, I'll Fly Away.
Oh.
Is this your own standard?
Oh, no. No, that One Day I Fly Away is a composition by Joe Sample, the piano player of the Crusaders. And he wrote that song for Randy Crawford. But as I have recorded with Joe Sample and I play in a band, the Crusaders, I wanted to record that song because I love that song so much.
Yeah, very good.
So I had a Norwegian ranger for me. Located.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. So it's not my composition. It's Joe's, and also Randy Crawford's first record.
Okay.
So I wish I would have written it, but I didn't. Yes, sir.
As a performing musician, artist, as a soloist, if you could break down the money that you make in a given year into like a pie chart, where is it primarily coming from, and what live gigs or these things?
Well, the way it is with me now is that I have many different tasks, because I am the artistic director of the Berlin Jazz Festival since 5 years, and I get a certain amount of money for each year. And then I'm an artistic advisor for the North German radio big band in Hamburg. So I get paid for 40 days a year plus if I perform on that soloist. And then I'm an artistic director for a Swedish big band, Band big band, which is a fully employed big band in Gothenburg. So that's another 40 days. Plus I do a couple of tours every year. So that's 3 contracts where I get money.
Somewhat secure? Or
Yeah, something. I mean, it's time-limited contracts. So they sign a contract for 3 years, and if you like you get another 3 years or something. But I would say, and then I teach at the conservatory in Hamburg, but that doesn't only so I would say that from playing and stuff that has to do with performing is the biggest part of the pie. From recording my own records and selling, and maybe I sell, if I'm lucky, let's say I sell maybe 50, 60,000 units of a CD, which is quite good still, because if you're supposed to, if you're wrong, then you're pretty good. Now, I sing too, and that helps in a way, because when you sing, it seems like people open up a little more to the music that you do, and it makes you be able to perform with 2 instruments as well. So, to sing is not bad, and there's a long tradition of trombone players that sing, from Jack Teagarden and on. So, that really helps. But I would say that most of the money I make is from performing, not from records. And I guess that would become even more so because the record market goes down, and hopefully the amount of concerts that I can make goes up, and maybe also the money I make on each concert goes up. I mean, there's always a market value on each person, and you can only get paid as much as your market value is. So that's like a catch-22. If you know what catch-22 is. Catch-22 is when you cannot get a gig because nobody knows you. And as nobody knows you, you cannot get a gig. So it's a non-win situation. It's impossible. So that's something that you have to kind of pass by. Because all of us, every professional musician, I guess, is trying to raise his market value over the years. And some succeed and some don't. And but I'm happy as long as I make enough money to have fun. Because actually all I do is, all the time, is to try to have as much fun as I can. Can you tell me, how many of you guys started to play an instrument because you thought it was fun? Raise your hands. So let me see, is there anyone now, is there anyone who didn't start because it was fun? You were a little reluctant, I could see that. You were like, but you started because it was fun. Okay, so everybody did, right? Nobody started because your parents told you that you have to play trumpet.
Yeah.
A little. My oldest brother, he was forced by my father to start to play trumpet. My father, with the physics, always wanted to sound like big Spider all the time. And my brother didn't want to play trumpet. So my father locked him into the closet. He said, now you practice for an hour before you can get out. So my brother, he sat there for half an hour and then he kicked the door open and he left the house. And he never played again. So my father understood that this is not a good, this is not the most tactical way to get someone to play. So he left me and my little brother alone. We became musicians both of us because he let us make our own choice. But my oldest brother, he hated music for many, many years. Now he loves it. Now he sings and loves to perform and stuff. But in those days, so to force people to do things like that has to do with music, it's not always good, I think. I mean, we have to force ourselves to practice it because if we don't, well, we sound less good, I guess. Because as everybody here has realized, without practicing, we won't get it. We absolutely won't get, or we can't get somewhere, because there's always some damn mother that knows much more than we do and has so much talent that he doesn't or she doesn't have to. But that doesn't happen very often. But I have a colleague who's now retired. He's a trombone player. His name is Joe Gallardo. He's from Texas, Corpus Christi, Texas, and he's been living in Germany for many, 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 many years. He never practices. What's wrong with that guy? He just puts his horn down after the rehearsal, playing first trombone. He always hits the right notes, sounds good. Maybe he practices at home when nobody sees him. But he says that he never practices. You know what that is?
Who it is?
Yeah, do you know?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So he's one of those guys that can probably play without having touched his instrument for 3 weeks. But if I would do that, I would be able to play for 2 minutes. And then I wouldn't come, not much would come out because the lips stop working. Come on, ask me something.
Do you still have a plan B?
Yeah, I do. I have a plan B. I guess that's why I do all these different things. To promote jazz festivals or to teach at a conservatory or whatever. All my plans has to do with music. I had a plan B in the 70s because I was so tired of myself playing that I decided to quit and I wanted to become an instrument repairman. But sadly enough, or luckily enough, the guy in Stockholm, his name was George Strusen, another American, he didn't have any space for me. He couldn't pay. I said, I don't need no money. He said, I still don't have any space. So I continued to play, which was probably quite good. He was the guy who he constructed the Holton bass trombone with this plastic thing. Yeah. Has anyone seen that? It's like it's a double valve with a plastic thing in between. But he said they misunderstood the whole thing. You got one? Yeah. No, not that one. It was like there was a roll, but it was a plastic thing in between those two. So, but he said they misunderstood his whole concept. He said it's so. I don't know because I never played that instrument. But my point with all the stuff that I've been saying now is anyway that you should think for yourselves because you're all individuals, but you have to learn to work together because an individual can be as strong as he or she wants. But together you're really strong. You can help each other. And we are a society of species that are seriously threatened by the world around us because of what we play. So always look for help among your friends and fellows and people who play, you know, the same instruments as you do or instruments that are similar. But always try to go beyond those instruments when you look for music that you want to play. Because I mean, if you're a trombone player, you're a classical player. What is there to play? I mean, for concerts, there is a few trombone concerts, but not much. If you compare with the trumpet players, they have a shitload of nice trumpet concertos, right? But for trombone players, you have Ferdinand and David, and then you have Durandal, and then you have a little more. And they're mostly, I mean, it's not bad music, but it's little in comparison to what it could be. There's a lot of Baroque music, of course, beautiful Baroque concertos. But if you look beyond, and if you listen to other instrumentalists, you might find new ways of playing on your instrument, no matter if you're a classical player or a jazz player or a rock player or whatever you want to be. You know, there's always something new around the corner that you could use. Even if you never play that music that you must sometimes listen to, it's good to listen to. It's good to try to find new stuff because it will make you better in one way or the other. Just to keep an open mind. Because we brass players also tend to be sometimes, you know, because of the nature of our instruments, a little narrow thinking. And I think it's important that we look beyond ourselves and try to find out what is for us around the corner. What can we learn from other players? I mean, if I could choose, I would like to play like a cello on the trombone. I'm trying to sometimes. It's just like when the air stops, the instrument stops. When you play a string on a cello, an open string, it sings for a little while. The cello has like its own body. This doesn't have a body. It's just a piece of, you know, metal. So it's, but still you can have the idea of trying to play like someone else. And I love the way the string players sing on their instruments. And they're allowed to sing. When I was studying classical music, we were supposed to play like you play in an orchestra. Even when we played solo pieces. I mean, if we played Ferdinand David, we were supposed to play it like you would play it in the section. Because that was the way if you went to an audition, that was the way you were supposed to play it, because you auditioned for a symphony orchestra. But the music was not written for an audition for a symphony orchestra. It was actually written as a piece of music. And that's something that we many, many times forget. We choose to play the music, the written music, as something that it wasn't supposed to be from the start. We play it as a competition piece instead of, for the wrong purpose, instead of playing the music that somebody actually wrote, hopefully with some love in it. And I think you should, you know, use your brains for that. Use your brains to find the music, wherever you are, whatever kind of music you play. And that's actually my message to all of you, to try to find the music. And try to have fun along the way. Because that's where it starts, to have fun. And then people can tell you as much as they want, this is not about fun. Like my colleagues in the NDR Big Band in Hamburg says, we're not paid to have fun. We're paid to play. They say, but what about, you know, we can have fun at the same time, guys. Isn't that something we can do? And say, no. Okay. So have different views on that. But my view is to have fun. It also makes it easier. It makes it easier to pass all those obstacles that you stumble on all the way all the time when you practice and when you perform. For example, I don't know, do you guys get nervous when you perform? How many guys get nervous before you do? Okay, that's quite a few. Now, you didn't reach. You never get nervous.
Not really.
No?
With the second performance, when I got on the stage, just one performance, and maybe like 30 seconds before I go to the stage. It's not really nervous, it's just
Yeah. And we never experienced during the concert that you get nervous.
during, yes, but not before.
Okay, what happens when you suddenly get nervous in the middle of the performance? What happens in your body? Does it start up?
No. Yeah, maybe.
A little?
Yeah.
And you said you get nervous.
Yeah.
So how does that show before a concert?
Yeah, sense.
Yeah? Do you get tense in the face as well?
Maybe.
Does it still function?
Yeah, my breathing is not
Okay. Do you get dry? No? But what happens then when you start playing, if it works? Does it go away? Does it
Yeah.
yeah? So you can be really shaky,
Yeah.
Yeah. but it goes away.
Yeah.
But almost all of you have experienced at least that you, at some point during the evening, you can become nervous. I almost never get nervous, but I accepted to play Vivaldi's Concerto for Piccolo Flute on this one. With the chamber orchestra a couple of years ago. And I mean, it's a nice piece of music, so I thought, well, that, and I mean, almost everybody knows it because we've heard it 2 million times, even if you've never played it. So when I practiced, and I knew it from heart, so I didn't need any music or anything. I knew it, and I felt perfect. And it was just a, it was a chamber orchestra, and it was a radio broadcast, and it was a very big audience. And he went perfect, and I was not nervous. I didn't kick, I didn't do anything, I just played the way to it. And then, 1.5 minutes before the piece ended, my legs started shaking. And they started to shake so much that they must have been like this. And then it kind of went up and it, slowly it's continued to my arms. So I was like the end of the piece. It was exactly like 5 seconds before this started too. The piece I was finished. I managed to keep it away from my lips. And I've never experienced such a thing before in my life. And after that, I really understood what Keith Jarrett said when he was asked, what have classical music given me? He said, the only thing it has ever given me is the knowledge that I'm getting so nervous I can almost not play. So I really understood that then, because you have to prove so much all the time. I mean, when I play, let's say, if I play something, if I'm supposed to play that, and for some reason, that's, I know that I can't reach the top note. Then I can just, I can play something else. And nobody can really say anything. But if you play a classical piece, you're supposed to play those notes, right? And that really makes it hard. So we have an advantage there. I can always choose a way around it. If I for some reason can't reach those notes, there's always a way around it. Because I can make my own choices. But if you play Haydn's trumpet concerto, there's no choice to be made. because you're judged like everybody else who plays high trumpet concerto. If you fuck up, you fuck up. And you consider it like somebody who fucked up, high trumpet concerto. But if I play around midnight and I choose to play another note somewhere, nobody can say that I fucked up. They can just say, oh, he chose another note. If they even notice that. So that's a big difference. And of course I have tried to take advantage of that because I still play some classical music. I had a double trombone concerto composed for me and Christian Lindberg, the Swedish trombone player who kind of put the classical trombone on the concert hall maps of the whole world. I guess he's at least one of those who was really, really, really famous in the classical world playing trombone. So we have a double concerto ready for us both. But we don't only play. He even plays some jazz in it, and so we cross each other. But we sing and we dance and we do a lot of film things. So that concerto is more of a theater piece. By the way, we will tour Germany with that 2013. In the classical world, the planning is very long, I have realized. So if anyone is interested, you can hear it very...
Who wrote it?
There's a Swedish guy, his name is Fredrik Rönnberg. You can see it on YouTube, actually. We're the brothers Nils Landgren, and we perform... We're two Italian brothers who for some reason play trombone.
It's the same composer that wrote this.
Yeah, this funny Western piece, you know, where they shoot each other. But anyway, back to what I was talking about before. It's about having fun, as I say, because if you're not having fun, this is about communication as well. I mean, we can play as much music as we like, and we can play in an ensemble, and we can enjoy our ensemble as much as we like. But if you have communication only between you guys in the band, but no communication in this direction, where there might be an audience, that is no communication to me. The communication has to be this way, but it has to be that way as well. So to communicate is extremely important when you perform music. You have to have a receiver. There has to be an address on the music. It's just like when you send a postcard. If you forget the address, the postcard will never end up where it's supposed to end up. And that's the same way with music, I think. You always have to have a clear address with the music. And the receiver is the audience. Whether it's an audience listening to a record or an audience like you guys here. So that's extremely important to always have that in mind. So you're having fun here, but they never get it. So that's important to make sure that, okay, we have a communication with everybody. That's when the music is happening. Because then this human mass of flesh and brain starts to vibrate together. And then you are making music together, because the audience is a part of the music, because they react to what you do. If they don't react, you're doing something that's not right. Because music is so emotional, but you have to show it to the ones that you play it for. That's what I think. So that's my general and my own personal views on, first of all, now you know the way I started, now you know the way I continue, now you know why I'm here. And yeah, I think that's about it. That's all I can say for now. But I'm sure that someone else has a question for me. Yes, sir.
You talked about this side slide, also a way to find your spot.
Mm-hmm.
when you look back, how much do you have to sacrifice or even jeopardize your own personal politics, beliefs? You know, it's kind of stuff because it's choosing way, and at some point it got some kind of direction, right? At some point you have to pick up the phone and pick up jobs.
Yeah.
At some point you just wait and let the phone ring. So when did that happen and how?
Well, it happened because I moved to Stockholm and somebody said that I was good. Then the telephone started ringing.
But what about the sacrifice? What about your own beliefs?
Well, when I started on my own beliefs, I mean, I still believe in what I do, and it's still like this. It's like a river who's, finding his way all the time. I might have a very clear view of where I want to go, but it's not a straight line. It's always like this. And sometimes I've always thought that if I accept as many jobs as I can, I mean that was in the 80s, 90s, I will learn about them. I will learn to play with people. I will learn to play exact. I will learn to play in tune. I will, and I will make money while doing it. But still, I've had a goal to play the music I like to play the most, my own music or other people's music, in the way I want to do it, with the people I want to play with. And that's what I have tried to pursue over the years. But, of course, all the time, suddenly you perform with 150 amateur big bands in 1 year. Or you perform, you work with schools. I love to work with kids. I love to work with, everything between 7 years to 70. Because there's always something that I can learn, and if I can give something, I think that's fantastic. So I also think it's important to work with beginners and with anyone who wants to actually play these kind of instruments. But I would say that to find that space is more. You have to have an idea of what you want to do first. I mean, there might be not only one space, there are many notes you have to go through on the way. But I'm positively sure that you can find them. But first of all, you have to have some kind of vision in your own brain. What do I want to do? Because that's also the thing with an address, with communication. Everything you do should have an address. Even when you practice, why do you practice? Do you practice only because somebody told you to practice? Or do you practice because you have an idea of what you can achieve with practicing? Then your practicing also has an address. It's for a practice reason. And that will also give you the chance or possibility to pursue your career at some point. But, the obstacles are so many. So it's not easy, and I know it. But I'm just saying, if I could do it, and I'm just a stupid country boy who started to play trombone, then I know that all you guys can do it. Because people love these instruments. They just sometimes don't know about it. So that's what we have to make them, we have to make them aware of what you can do with instruments and what kind of music you can perform. When I went to New Orleans 1 month before Katrina hit New Orleans to make the record with Joe Sample and some New Orleans brass band players. And after we recorded, when the recordings were over, in the evening we went to eat some food, and then we went out to check out the local brass band standing in the street corners. And usually they had like 5 trombones and a couple of trumpets, maybe even a saxophone, and a couple of drummers. Maybe just a guy who played bass drum and a hi-hat and one guy who played snare. And they didn't play any traditional brass band music. They played like Michael Jackson tunes and stuff like that. And they were swinging their ass off. 1 o'clock in the night, 16 years old. And they were funkier than I can never become. They had found a way to perform new music in their traditional way, you would say. with the traditional instrumentation, but they choose the top 40 songs because that was the songs, first of all, that they liked, and second of all, they thought that they could attract people who would put money in the, in the hat by playing their music. But they were really, really, really stone hard funk. And I just wish that I were recorded it because I probably would never hear it again. But by saying that, there was such an inspiration for me to see those people so young, trying to find a way also, all of those guys want to become professionals, of course. But how do you manage? But everybody wants to play. And they have an extremely strong brass tradition down there. People love brass playing. It comes from the French. When the French invaded that part of America, they brought the brass band tradition long time ago. And so, for example, you can do that. You can do anything you like. There's no limit. There's absolutely no limit to what you can do. And as we know, there are many soloists that you might have heard that doesn't know any limits. I definitely know my limits, but I try to, push them a little bit now, because I believe that that's very important. Always try to push the limits, if possible. For example, if you have a trombone, and everybody says that the lowest note is that's an E, right? It's a low E, and the highest note is maybe C, maybe. But what about the other notes then? Why? That's in the book. It says that's the note, right? What about the other notes? I mean, who says that? I mean, there's a lot of other notes, or even higher. You can play. You can find your own notes, and if that's the lowest note on the regular trombone, what about that note? Search that out for themselves. The trombone is not a fixed, and the trumpet is not even, not any brass instrument has a fixed register. You guys are fixed because somebody told you that you're fixed. This is the way it is. Don't change it because it's impossible. Okay, what do then? You start to use your brain and thinking, hey, maybe there's some other things I can do. And for example, like things that if you use the slide direction, that's the way it is. And as I also showed you, it works the other way around. And you can find all these things in between. You can do so many things with an instrument, as you might already know, that most people don't know because nobody ever showed them. So what you have to do is to figure that out for yourself. Because that's sometimes the only way that you can find out. Or you can ask your teacher, hey, how do you do this and this and this? And if the teacher can't show you, I can't show my students everything because I don't know everything. Then I say, well, maybe you can go to that guy because he seems to know more about that. And you look up guys for the certain things that you want to learn that your own teacher might not be able to help you with. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not getting offended if any of my students say, hey, listen, I'm studying for another guy at the same time. I don't care. Because they believe that they get something from that guy. To me, that's not a competition. It's just something that's it's complementary, because he will show or she will show the student something else that I cannot show. But I'll show you something to end my long, lonely conversation. Yes, sir.
Just how do you practice from the low E and down to concert? How do you practice the fixed tones or what do you think?
Well, I just do like you do. I mean, you play bass drum, right? So I just do it the same way. I just imagine that I have one.
Yeah,
I saw it later. Yes, sir.
I mean, I saw you in Göttingen at the Jazz Festival, and your concert started at 12 o'clock in the night and ended at 2 o'clock in the morning. So when was the next concert, and how do you recover in this short time?
Well, we probably went to another city by bus or something. I guess we traveled direct after the concert to a show somewhere else. It can be 10 hours or something on the bus. Well, I try to sleep, but I have difficulties to sleep on the bus. But I'm trying to just, I probably snore in my sleep, so I do it by myself, automatically. Can be. I try to recover by not doing too much. And then and usually I have to really sit down for quite a while and just, blow very long notes, like. And I never use my tongue then, except for when I need it. So to get the first note, I just try to hit it with air. And if the air works, then I can continue and I can. If that works, then I can continue. Because that's only flexibility. That's just airstream doesn't work. I'm not using anything else. That's only the airstream. So if I do it slow, it's just like. Right? So that's the idea of it. But if my air can get and my muscles, of course, if they work. Like it actually worked this time when I did it. Then I know that okay, I can continue and I can probably, with some more warm-ups, I can play another concert. But sometimes the lips doesn't want to vibrate at all. So I'm trying to scare them. Yes.
I just understand that you said, as you did the flexibility stuff, you just do it by airstream, is that right?
Yeah, I'm not using anything else.
Okay.
It's just air. I mean, air is, we feed off air. It's just like when you play a brass instrument, it's just like being alive. Because you breathe in all the time. And there's no difference between breathing when you walk or sleep or talk or whatever you do. You always breathe. And I believe it's the same thing when you play the trombone.
Yeah. But just to complement what you just asked, you're sitting on the side of it. No, that's not the only thing he's doing. I mean, he's moving his head around. There's different things happening, but you're not thinking about that stuff.
No.
Of course. So just remember that he knows exactly what he needs to proceed to do it.
Yeah, I mean, this was not the first time I did. Yeah, right. That's for sure. Yeah, you have to. Of course, I've done it. I practiced this, and I started, as I showed you, I started very slow. I mean, you have to start very slow and to teach the muscles how to do it. They have to understand. The muscles have to know it, and then you can actually move the whole thing with the help of your airstream. Right. Yeah. Because then you surf on the airstream. So you're just like a surfer, and then the airstream is like a wave. But if there's no waves, you can't surf. And of course, to be able to surf, you have to practice. I can't surf, but I can play trombone now and then. But of course, I mean, I'm moving my head. Because I have to move my head in order to get the notes I want to get at the right point. Because there's a little difference in the placement. Well, to answer your question, I think that's what I do at least. And sometimes I really have to scare the lips by playing like, it's going to be loud. Because if I do that now, then they really, sorry, I warn you guys. So, and that guy woke up, that's good. I was waiting for the right moment. I wanted to have it to sleep as long as possible. But now I have to do it, sorry. But then, of course, the other way around, you need to also, you can't only play loud, that would be very dumb. So you can do something. A while ago, I was talking to a fantastic trumpet player, Roy Hoggerall, who's a very special guy, but he's a fantastic trumpet player. And I said, how the hell can you play well? You're up partying, smoking weed, doing whatever you do till 6 in the morning, having women on the room, doing all that stuff what you do, and then you don't sleep anything, and then you play a soft ballad, and it sounds fantastic. How do you do that? I said, whisper tone. I said, what the hell is that? And he said, whisper tone is a method. I thought he was joking, but it was a method. You know about whisper tone? You? Well, basically it's just to play very, very, very soft.
Whisper tone.
Whisper tone, yeah. So just like to try to project with as little, how do you say? Well, you should just, I'll show you better. So you can start anywhere. You can just, just so you get the note. Very, very slow. That means that you have to, your muscles, they have to work really, really hard without, punishing yourself at all. So you play very soft and you just try to get a note. That means that these guys have to really, really tighten up. And as far as I know, that's all he does. That's probably all he's got time for. I don't know, but it means the way he plays is, he's a wonderful musician. He's using it, so I'm trying to use it too when I cannot find time for anything else and when I'm really tired. I sit down in the corner and I always use this when I practice because when I'm on tour, because I always disturb something. If I practice in my room, I will disturb the neighbors, in the hotel. If I practice on the bus, I will disturb the guys in the band. If I practice in the back room, I will also disturb the guys in the band, and they will get pissed with me. So I always use this thing. I'm not sure if it's always good, but at least I use it because nobody can hear me. So I can practice as much as I want, and it's in tune, and it's very, very, very soft. So I actually love it. If I'm at home, I practice without, of course, and my neighbors love it, they say. I don't believe it, but... If I use earbuds? No, I don't. No, I think it sounds pretty shitty. I use it if maybe I have to record in the middle of the night. On the bus, for example, on the tour bus. If we are recording a tune or something, we put up a keyboard and we put up a computer. Then I use it because then I can, plug it into the computer without having, maybe we do sketches of the song or something like that. Then I use that little thing, but otherwise I think it sounds pretty crappy. And it takes too much time to, attach the whole thing. I just want to, I put my horn together, I put that thing in, and then I practice. And it works most of the time. Any other question? Yes?
Some days you can have a break without damage your day.
Oh, almost no days.
Holidays.
No, I'm not supposed to have holidays, I think. But I took a week off in the beginning of the summer. I didn't play for a week, but it's not good. Like in 3 days it's okay. But then especially if I'm supposed to play a concert on the 4th day, or the 5th day, and I've taken off for a couple of days. So I try to, I don't have to practice much. I practice, let's say, half an hour a day. And then I do something, I can show you that. You can use it on any of these instruments that you're playing before we're done with this. And it's, I went to New York together with Ted Jones to study for a guy, his name was Carmine Caruso. And Carmine Caruso was like a brass guru. Did you ever go? Did you ever go? He was a funny guy, right?
5 months.
5 months?
5 months.
Damn.
3 hours a week.
Yeah? I think he was fantastic. He sat there, he had, the things you put on your ears when you drive a tractor. Those air protections. Because the room was so small, so he put those on and then we played our stuff. And it was loud, like, yeah. He sat there from 9 till 3. And then he went to the bar around the corner and he had 2 Bloody Marys and then he went home. I guess, for 3 days. But what he taught me, I wasn't there for such a long time, but what he taught me was things that I still use. Do you use it still?
It's what?
Are you still using any of this stuff?
Yeah, very much.
I think it works as long as you are aware of what you're doing. How many of you are familiar with Carmine Caruso's method? So many. Okay, so many of you, most of you guys are not. So I'll just show you one thing. I have no idea how it's going to work out now, and it's going to take a while, but I'll show you. So the idea is, here you can practice. I'm not a very, very big fan of long practice hours, because I think it's extremely boring. So I'm trying to practice shorter periods, half an hour or something instead, and try to be concentrated. And then I do something else for a while, and then I go back, and then I do something else, if I have to learn something special. Otherwise, I might practice in another way. But here is a good practice, because it's a long practice. It's quite hard for your lips, but you can practice the timing of your tongue, the timing of the slide, or the valves, if you play that, at the same time. You can practice your pitch. The sound can become very crappy when you get up there, but see it not as a musical practice, but as an athlete's practice. Because Carmine Caruso said, hey, listen, when you come to me, this is not about music. This is about to teach your muscles and your whole being how to perform to be able to play music afterwards. So that was the way I saw it, and I think that's on the part, right? And I dug that, because that was like separated from the music. So, okay, so the longest practice of all. And then for some reason he used the key of B flat. So whenever you have a flat, so you play, for example, an E flat when you get there. So this is just seconds all the time, just seconds. So this is a long practice. It goes like this. You keep the tempo with your feet, instead of having a metronome, because when you have a metronome, you tend to listen to the metronome instead of feeling it in your body. Here you can just concentrate on putting the notes on the beat. So it's half note, whole note, one note. Rest, breathe through your nose, to keep the mouthpiece where it's at all the time. But then you also teach yourself, where is the mouthpiece supposed to be all the time? And then you do like this. You try to move this leg as late as possible. Or the valve, of course, on the other one. to check your airstream as well. You're only using the tongue when it's needed. Try to keep on breathing. And just continue as long as you can. You know it, you're almost done. Okay, so we stop, right? And then you're not done. Because just like when you do an athlete's practice, you let the blood kind of get pressed on the sides. But now the lips say, fuck you, I'm tired. So that's why no sound comes out. They refuse to vibrate. You take the mouthpiece off your face for 30 seconds about. And then you try to continue from where you were. Wherever you start, you try to continue. To teach your muscles to get a little stronger in the way, right? I was from the B flat now, let's say. So I continue a little bit, right? Get my get red? Now it doesn't want to go any further today. So you can actually push it a little bit by bit. And that means that after a while, wherever you have to stop the first time, you're going to get a little stronger. So even if you never have, maybe you will never use these high notes, but you will know that I can reach them, if I can. Which also means you're going to be more secure when you play in your normal rhythm. Because you know that you have, your limit is not exactly where people think it is. It's much higher. So you're going to be strong and you're not going to damage yourself. I mean, I don't believe that you damage yourself as long as you listen to the muscles, because they tell you when they're tired. As you could hear, they said, stop it. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's quite familiar to what I told you about maximum power training. How long do you do things like this in one day?
Oh, first of all, depends on how shitty my condition is.
Yeah.
And if I panic because I know that in 3 days I have a concert and my chops are not what they're supposed to be, I might do a couple of different ones during the day. Maybe I do 3, maybe I do 4. They're combined with other practices, of course. Because I can only do this because you get very stiff. So never do it on the same day as you have a concert because you're fucked. I tell you, you cannot play.
Yeah.
So don't do it. You have to be able to rest overnight.
This is what I want to do.
Yeah. If you don't, you really, as I say, up shit creek without a paddle.
I've actually done exactly that exercise for
many years now. And at one moment I did it too much because I pushed it, and then something happened. I don't know, I got something in my lip, and I had to start all over. I couldn't play for 3 weeks.
Ooh, shit. Okay, but then that's not because you didn't listen to your body, because that's I think the problem for everybody, also for athletes. I mean, if you start running and you run too much, if you overpower, if you go beyond what your physical condition can take, then you're at risk of destroying something. And that's absolutely not my intention here, to try to destroy any of you guys. So these practices, they need rest afterwards. But they're extremely good because you can check so many things at the same time. Your airstream, your tongue, timing of slide and tongue, or the valves that you push them at the right time, and you get stronger and stronger in quite a short time. But I really advise you not to do this every day, all the time, because it can make you quite stiff, and as I said, never on the same day as a concert. I've done it a couple of times because I forget that I'm not supposed to show guys at clinics things like this, and then I have a concert in the evening, and you play 5 minutes, and it's like playing flat tires after 5 minutes, and you have 2 hours to go, and that's not good. So it's really important that you rest, just like any athlete does. They always rest a lot. Before a competition, they just do warm-ups and stuff. If you have somebody who does high jump or whatever they do, they're not trying to jump higher before the competition than on the competition, because that would be fatal. Now what you can do more, of course, if you play an instrument like this, or any of your instruments that has only one source of sound. I mean, we have a bell, and there's nothing coming out except for that bell. So you can do other things, and I will just, as to end this thing, I'll play something for you, and at least it combines a few of those techniques that you can use when you play the brass instrument. So here it comes. voice. Thank you so much. It's really funny when you do that so much. I've been talking for an hour and then do that singing and playing at the same time. It can be famous for the voice. So I never do this actually until the end of the show. Because then I've already played the end song the whole show. Then I can do this because then I know after this nothing more will come. So I can totally mess myself up. But usually it just takes 5 minutes and then it's okay. Thank you so much for listening.